Oh my God, it's working.
Charge, ready for the fight. Noble hearts and steadfast pride. Detroit spirit, we wear it white. Feel the drive, hear the crowds embrace. Locked on Detroit Lions will rise. With a heart full of dreams and the fire in our eyes. From the past to the future, we'll claim our own. In the home of the brave, we'll proudly have grown. In the city, where the roar meets the night, the Lions charge, ready for the fight. Noble hearts and steadfast pride. Detroit spirit, we wear it white. Feel the drive, hear the crowds embrace. Rocked on Detroit Lions will rise. Rocked on Detroit Lions will rise. With a heart full of dreams and the fire in our eyes. From the past to the future, we'll claim our own. In the home of the brave, we'll proudly have grown. With every game, we rise and unite. Feeling the passion igniting the light. Through highs and lows, we'll stand as one. A legacy, a tale that just begun. Together we roar. Together we roar. Detroit Lions will rise. With a heart full of dreams and the fire in our future, we'll claim our
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down again.
Bring it. All right, what's happening, everybody? It is Monday. Wildcard weekend is done. I apologize. As usual, something crazy just happened. I fixed it, though. Mostly. Most of it's fixed, but we'll deal with the rest. How's everybody doing, man? Sitting on the couch watching everybody play a bunch of Lions. Watching the Bears be a disastrous team for 3.5 quarters and pull some shit out of there. You know what? Luck, BS. Should have been bounced after the first round. The Packers are atrocious. And again, you want to go all in and you want to waste all that money and all those future draft picks. Look what just happened to you in the playoffs. You know, for the simple fact that the Packers were down a lot of players and not just Parsons. I mean, multiple really good defenders that they were able to keep the Bears off the board that long. I will say this. I watched some pretty valid NFL is rigged moments over the weekend, and I don't like what I'm seeing. But the Bears won one. I don't expect them to win their second. Let's get Eric in. Let's get rolling. We're already late enough as it is. What's happening, man?
Hey, I'm here.
Right? Yeah, you've been here. You've been waiting. Everything on your side works just fine.
Yeah.
So
no gremlins for me today.
My side's just a mess, man. All my drivers, I guess, took a poop, so I'm not sure how that happened. It is what it is.
No.
Rough,
what a crazy weekend.
Yeah, rough weekend in sports, man, especially for Lions fans. Which we'll talk a little bit about what happened here.
Yeah, that Bears-Packers game was incredibly hard to watch. I didn't want to cheer for either team,
right,
but I picked the lesser of two evils in wanting the Packers to lose.
Aww.
So that is why I chose the Bears this weekend. I only got one game wrong. The 49er-Eagle game was the only game I got wrong this weekend. Cost me my 6-game parlay.
Well,
stupid 49ers. But it goes to show you that resting your starters might not be the smartest thing in week 18, because the teams that rested their starters did not do so well in wild card weekend. The
No,
Packers and the Eagles both got beat, and resting your starters didn't help you too much.
no, I expected the Eagles to lose. They have looked like frauds from probably midway through the season.
Well, right after the Lions game, that's when they started losing games. It was right after they played the Lions.
Yeah. Well, even wasn't it the week before? Didn't they play? Did they have the Packers the week before?
And they beat
And
them barely.
They barely got out of that
And then
bad weather game, but barely got out of that game.
Yeah, and then barely beat us, and then went on a terror of losing.
Yeah. Let me just check audio real quick. Do you have any around the league or anything you want to do real quick?
No, I did not put in around the league together, but I can go through wild card weekend.
Are they even seeing us?
Yeah, I can see it.
Well, on my phone, it's saying still waiting.
Oh no, I got a live feed going on my phone.
What in the world is going on in my house today?
Oh no,
There
everybody's
we
talking
go.
in the chat.
All right.
Yeah. So,
All right,
quick
we're good.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry guys. Like we're so screwed up right now because of the start. So we're just gonna roll into this. Look, this weekend was hard to watch as Lions fans, like I was saying, because we're not in it. The one team, the Chargers, that looked really good in the preseason, really good pick for me early in the season was the Chargers and Lions Super Bowl. I felt it. I thought that there was going to be a chance. The Chargers made the playoffs. They did not look good at all in the playoffs. I mean, how many sacks? How many sacks did Herbert go through? I mean, it was unbelievable.
Pretty sure there was 5.
It was, I mean, he was getting the snot kicked out of him, and Harbaugh didn't look like he had an answer for anything that New England was putting together. But I got to hand it to New England, man. And this was a team that was another one of my early picks in the preseason. Once I knew that Terrell Williams was going over there and the coaching staff that they were assembling, and Drake May being in his second season, playing the majority of last year, started to look good. Didn't look great, but started to look good. Looked good in the beginning of this season. I wasn't surprised, but that defense over there is something special. In May, the early interception in this game, first quarter, I think it was first or second drive. I mean, obviously that didn't look good, right? But these tip balls and these, as luck would have it, the ball ends up in their hands. New England, does their thing. And then New England, when they get the ball later in the first quarter, I mean, they take 150 yards. Took 150 yards off a little dink and dunk out of the end zone. I mean, just amazing work by Drake May. I mean, he got sacked a couple of times too, but he just looks cool, calm, collected. Does not look like a second-year player at all. Drake May could end up being the best draft pick, one of the best draft picks out of that draft.
Yeah. So Drake May was sacked 5 times, and Herbert was sacked 6 times.
Jesus.
Yeah, and these quarterbacks, I'm telling you, they didn't do so hot. Justin Herbert was 19 of 31 for 159 yards and a QB rating of 74.5. And then for the Patriots, you had Drake May. He was 17 of 29 for 268 yards. Much, much better. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 5 sacks, and a QBR of 86.6.
Not QBR, right? You're talking passer rating,
passer
right?
rating.
Passer
rating of
Yeah.
86. So, I saw something that only 2 quarterbacks yesterday or this weekend had a decent over 60% pass completion percentage, and I think that was Drake May and Josh Allen. Everyone else was like 58%, 57%. These quarterbacks were not very accurate this weekend. So it makes me really miss seeing Jared Goff in the playoffs.
There were some bright spots, I think, on both sides of the football. I mean, when you want to look at some players that were playing pretty well for the Chargers. Tui Pulotu and Odafe Owe, they led the Chargers pass rush against the Patriots with 5 pressures, 20% pressure rate, 4 pressures, 23.5% pressure rate, respectively, I guess, really for the combined. Owe recorded 2 of his pressures in under 2.5 seconds, which I'm glad they're starting to use the 2.5 second mark again, along with a career high 3 sacks overall between combined and individual. That's a hell of a football game. Tui Pulotu recorded just 1 sack, but between the two, 4 sacks is that's a good game for them, especially where you're getting the sacks, right? When you're getting them on third down, when you're flipping the field, that's where you need to see your players step up. Christian Gonzalez was targeted 3 times across 13 matchups against Quentin Johnston. Quentin Johnston, in my opinion, hasn't really turned out to be the player that a lot of people thought he was going to be, but he's getting better. 5 in man coverage, forcing 1 tight window throw and not allowing a single reception the entire game. Christian Gonzalez, man, playing at such a high level, also did not allow any receptions on 2 of his other targets across his other 13 coverage snaps. Johnston recorded just 1 reception against Charles Woods for 8 yards, 1 reception against Robert Spillane for 9 yards, and another one for 3 yards on a bubble screen where he was left uncovered. So not a great game by Quentin Johnston, but a great game by Christian Gonzalez. Will Campbell, the T-Rex offensive lineman, allowed a team-high 6 pressures, including 2 sacks on 40 pass blocking snaps in the Patriots wildcard win over the Chargers. Now, this was his 4th career game allowing multiple sacks this year. There's a reason why I talk about length, and especially arm length, and there's a reason why I talk about ape index. And no, that's just not a funny term. It's wingspan and arm length combined. Will Campbell struggled against elite pass rush, and he struggled all season against guys that have length. So if there's one thing that I'm hoping Brad and Dan don't do this year is take the high effort, high motor kind of guy that might be lacking a little length. I know that he came to the podium last year with his HWS shirt with a line through it, height, weight, speed, and says you need to judge the football player and the character and all that stuff first. Brad, respectively, that is the one thing I feel like you're missing on. It's not about who you're drafting as far as position. It's not about how you're drafting. It's not utilizing the things to me that make the most sense, which is look at the players that have been great and elite and look at what their measurements are. There's a reason why it's 90-10. It's 90 prototypical size football players become elite, generational, not just talent, but record keepers and Hall of Fame gold jacket wearers, and only 10% are non-prototypical size players. There's a reason for that. So, respectively, Brad Holmes, that's my biggest bone to pick with you, bud. Just get the players that have the length. In this game, Eric, Chargers and Patriots, anything else you want to add to it?
It was the biggest, I guess, blowout of the weekend. Halftime was 3-3, which I thought was a really incredible close game. But the Patriots, in the second half, the Chargers just had no answers for them in the second half, and even Harbaugh just said he doesn't know what went wrong in that second half of that game. They were just the better team, and I think having Herbert banged up all year, that left hand of his is broken. He needs to heal and get better. You can say it wasn't affecting him, but it was affecting him. I don't care what anybody says. So that was the one game where there was no lead changes in the fourth quarter. All the other games had a whole bunch of fourth quarter lead changes. It was the most lead changes in the fourth quarter in any weekend in NFL history for the playoffs, and it was more than any complete playoff series. So there was a lot of back and forth in the fourth quarter in those 4 other games. And I'm hoping tonight that we see some of the same with the Texans and the Steelers. Go Texans, by the way.
Okay. I'm a Tomlin fan. I don't know which horse I'm backing in this race yet tonight, but I'm a Tomlin fan. Always have been. I guess not trying to add insult to injury or anything here, but I might as well. There's something that we were talking about before. We talked about a lot, but there's something you mentioned. Well, I want to get that statement from you here in just a moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I got a question for everybody. All the Jared Goff haters, you know who you are. 2 quarterbacks going at it this weekend. Drake May, Herbert, 11 sacks. They can scramble. They can run. They can move. Why do they get sacked so much? They have good offensive lines. They have good coordinators. They have good run game. So please explain to me why the Jared Goff haters, hate Jared Goff so much because he is not a dual threat quarterback when you just witnessed 2 of the most capable quarterbacks get smoked behind the line of scrimmage. So there's my insult to injury for all the Jared Goff haters. You mentioned something, though, about the overall weekend, how when you look at the teams that won and lost, what did they do in the either free agency or trade deadline? What did they do that kind of shook the NFL a little bit, but didn't pan out in the postseason?
Yeah. If you look at teams like the Eagles, they went after Jalen Phillips at the trade deadline. They made the moves that everybody wanted Brad to make. They went out and got an edge. Well, how did that work out for them? And then look at the Packers. They went out and right before the league started the games in September, they went out and got Micah Parsons. They gave up a couple of first-round picks. They gave up a player. And look where that got them. And another similar thing between these 2 teams, not only did they go all in free agency and at the trade deadline, these 2 teams both rested their starters in week 18. And look how that worked out for them. So, we can be mad at Benedict Johnson all we want, but he didn't rest his players in week 18. He tried to win that game against the Lions. He really did try. They didn't succeed. They lost, but his players were sharper for it, and they hadn't been sitting on the couch for a week. And I think that's one of the reasons that the Bears won this past weekend versus the Packers. But it's funny how everybody wanted Brad to do all this stuff in free agency and at the trade deadline, but look at the teams that did something and how it didn't work out for them.
Exactly. And what's hilarious is, two of the guys that were hotly, sought after, Micah Parsons, the major injury. I don't need to beat that horse anymore. But Jalen Phillips, who actually did help his team during the regular season, with the Eagles as far as getting after the quarterback. But where did that pan out yesterday? What did he do yesterday that helped them win the football game? They didn't win. Nope. And he didn't do anything to help them win. So one player away is never the answer. I'm sorry. We just witnessed it in the first set of games in the wild card weekend. You just witnessed 2 of the teams that went after and did the most, Eagles and Packers, get bounced. Make it make sense. You know what? I say it all the time, Eric. Truth, honesty, transparency, and no narratives. I'll never get in that vehicle of narrative driving because it's never made sense. And I like to look at, football from a raw football and, analysis standpoint and try to really, break it down and try to get after what's working, why it's working, and Why are certain teams having more success than others? And here's the answer that I always come up with. I don't care what team it is. I don't care what year it is. Here's the answer that I always come up with. It's bigger than skin deep. And what I mean by that is what you see on the surface of the skin is just the headlines, right? What you see on the surface of the skin doesn't tell you what's going on underneath it all. And for these teams to go out there and make a headline with Parsons, right? To make a headline with Jalen Phillips, to get active in free agency. Those were great headlines, like Brad Holmes says, right? Like he talks about. Great headlines. But underneath it all, what happened with the rest of your team? How did you address the rest of the team? Because those were only 2 of 25 starters. And if they're gone, or if they're not very effective, did you focus on the other 23 or 24 starters on your team? Because if you didn't, and now you're up into, the playoffs, and you've got this situation where how many injuries did we see? I mean, my God, there was injuries left and right this weekend, big injuries, and like Kittle, ACL or Achilles. Achilles.
Yeah.
I mean, they still won the game, right? The 49ers, but the point is what did they do behind Kittle? Who's the next man up now? How is that going to affect them, moving forward? Now he doesn't really fit the mold of, the offseason or, free agency and trade deadline or all that, because he was, been part of that team for a while. But the point that I'm trying to make here is, what players did you go after and how did you solidify the depth? And that is what Brad Holmes has done extremely well. So I know that we're kind of just talking about playoffs and what these teams are doing, but I'm trying to assimilate it to what the Lions are doing. Why we're not in the playoffs, why we missed it, what could we do better, but how close we really are to being right back in it and being, better for it, healthier with the right depth. And I think that you can't argue the one point that our core, our nucleus, like I write about and like Brad and Dan talk about, is there. It's there. It's just staying healthy, man. These guys, and a little bit of luck. We've had zero luck, and we have not stayed healthy for 2 seasons. So when a lot of fans are out there trying to burn it down, burning the couches in East Lansing, that's the kind of feeling I get from Lions fans right now. They're pulling to Michigan State, burning everything down because they're pissed, instead of really looking back and saying, you know what, this team's a lot closer than I think what people are giving it credit to be.
One game away.
Yeah. What were you gonna say something?
Yeah, we're 1 game away. Listen, the Packers, the Vikings, and the Lions all had 9 wins this year, but because of a stupid tie, the Packers got to go to the playoffs on a 4-game losing streak.
Yeah.
All the Lions had to do was win 1 game versus the Steelers, the Rams, or the Minnesota Vikings. And then week 18 would have been for the NFC North, and we would have been looking at going to the playoffs. We were not that far off. And now, if you take this whole free agency and trade deadline thing, and you look at it like this, let's say that Brad had done the Micah Parsons trade. Brad would be in the same boat, and so would Dan Campbell, in the same boat as Gutekunst and Laflur. You know what they're talking about doing in Green Bay right now? They're talking about both of those guys gone because of this whole Micah Parsons fiasco and them only getting the 7th seed every year and them not getting any further in the playoffs. The Packers and Lafleur are turning into the Mike Tomlin of the NFC North. They're always just good enough to make the playoffs, but they're never good enough to win the division, and they always lose. He has 1 playoff win in the last 4 years, and the Packers have not won the division since 2021. So their success, people in Green Bay are getting fed up. And I've been saying it for almost half the season that even though they were winning, the tide is turning on this coach. Now, if he gets fired and Gutekunst gets fired, it may get a lot worse for us Lions fans because they may go after John Harbaugh and a really good GM.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you just mentioned that. So that was going to be my next point is John Harbaugh is now linked to the Green Bay Packers. And I would have to say that I don't want that to happen.
But isn't John Harbaugh just like a Mike Tomlin, always good enough to maybe win the division or make the playoffs, but never makes any noise? He had, oh God.
No,
I
hear you.
MVP quarterback in the world, and he couldn't get it done.
Yeah, well, I think
so. That doesn't scare me.
I think that's the problem. I think that there's your problem right there, is that he has been hitched with Lamar Jackson this entire time, and the ownership and the GM doesn't want to make any changes there, haven't wanted to make any changes there, and he's not the answer. I'm sorry. For all the Lions fans that wanted Lamar Jackson in Detroit, that dude is the epitome of a regular season winner. He will never be a postseason winner. And look at all the injuries that he battled this year. That's what you're going to get after running around in the NFL for, more than 5 seasons, taking a bunch of licks, and now you're starting to see all the injuries pop up. And if you're not a pocket passer, and if you can't control the pocket with your arm, it's not going to work out later in your career. A lot of those quarterbacks end up fizzling out because you find out quickly, the dude ain't got an arm. I think Lamar has a decent arm. I wouldn't put it up. I mean, he has a very strong arm, right? He can launch it deep. That's great. But do you have the touch, right? Do you have the vision? Can you drop that ball in a bucket, and fade it over a couple of defenders? That's the difference. And like even with Caleb Williams, very strong arm, throws fastballs. But the question is, does he have the ability to drop it in the bucket? And I know what everyone's going to talk about. They're going to talk about that one pass to the tight end on the left side of the field. That was a total luck shot. I think he was trying to throw that ball out of bounds, and it just happened to fade back into the one spot where his tight end could catch it. Because if you look how that pass went down, I mean, he wasn't planted. He wasn't even throwing forward. He was about to get sacked, and then he chucks the ball in the spot where he had a receiver. It was still a hell of a play, but there's a lot of luck right there.
We just got some good news.
All right, what's
Adam Schefter is reporting that the Packers are now expected to try to work out a deal in the coming days to keep head coach Matt Lafleur in Green Bay.
Yeah, no. So are you reading that from Schefter?
Schefter, and he just posted it a couple minutes ago.
So he posted the same thing the other day too.
Yeah.
That there was conversations about that opportunity. And then this morning I listened to him, and I think it was some insiders and where they were talking about the exact opposite.
Yeah.
So now he's posting this 40 minutes ago that Matt Lafleur currently has 1 year remaining on his contract. Both sides want clarity moving forward. That's his most recent post. Packers are now expected 44 minutes ago. So 4 minutes before I read that, expected to try to work out a deal in the coming days to keep Matt Lafleur in Green Bay. We'll see where that goes. We'll see.
I like it. I would rather them have him. I mean, he hasn't done anything. Jordan Love has never won the NFC North.
No.
Caleb Williams has won the NFC North.
It was gifted.
Kirk Cousins won the NFC North. Jared Goff won the NFC North. But good old Jordan Love, he's never won the NFC North. Aaron Rodgers did with Matt Lafleur, not Jordan Love. And the what did I see? So the Lions are going to be playing the Giants, the Titans, and the Cardinals next year, where the Green Bay Packers are playing 3 tougher teams. They're playing, I think, the 49ers. The 3 teams that they have to play because of their schedule are so much tougher than ours. Like, so much worse. I wish I would have kept it. I can't remember what I did with it.
That's all right. We'll move on to some of the other games here. I brought up Caleb Williams. Let's talk about the Bears and the Packers for just a moment.
What a game.
Yeah, I mean, the Packers, here's how I felt. in that fourth quarter, I'm like, I'm watching the Detroit Lions of 2023 all over again.
Now, hey, online, everybody was comparing our NFC Championship game loss to this loss. Okay. They were ahead by 18 at halftime. We were ahead by 17 at halftime.
Yeah, I don't think that matters. What matters is how they lost in the fourth quarter.
But theirs was a NFC Wildcard game.
That doesn't matter either. It's the
Ours was the NFC Championship. It stung a little bit more.
Yeah, of course. But it's the style of how they lost. The Packers were ahead. Matt Lafleur kept trying to run the damn football, and it wasn't going anywhere. They got away from the pass. Here's, what they try to do is kill the clock. And you can't just kill the clock. You have to keep your foot on the gas. And so what Matt LaFleur just learned is what Dan Campbell learned in 2023. You don't stop scoring. You don't stop going for it. You don't just try to run the football to kill the clock and hope that you can, not allow enough points to lose the game when the clock does end, when there's triple zeros. If they would have just went and tried to score one more time, this game is over. It's out of reach. But they didn't. They tried to do what the Lions tried to do, which is run the ball out, run the clock out. It blew up in their face. So huge mistake for Matt LaFleur. You can't be up 18 points or 17 points, whatever it was, have a defense that is completely trouncing the Bears. And if you go look at the defense that they played, oh my God. This is where the rigged NFL, I just need to go in my email and pull it up and show you guys. This is where the rigged NFL is coming all back again as far as how on earth are you having your defense, your cornerbacks 7 to 10 yards off the wide receivers in the fourth quarter? 7 to 10 yards, and you're allowing them to complete everything. Underneath. Everything. You're not challenging. You're not doing anything to try to win this football game. You just sat back and said, yeah, we'll give you that. Yeah, we'll give you that too. Yep, we'll give you these. We're going to try to protect the end zone a little bit here. And then before you know it, it's 7, 10, 12, 7, 6, 5. They're in the red zone. And then they're scoring. Because you played some cheap-ass defense, bend but don't break, and all you did was break every time, and you bent yourself over and took the loss. But this is what a lot of fans are talking about, was this a total script? And I don't know, man. It seems like every week there's a reason to believe that the NFL has a script. I hate to even run down that road, but it seems like every week we are given some reason to believe it. So let me pull this up. I'm pulling this up. Why don't you tell me what you think?
Well, I saw a guy on, I think, I can't remember if it was Facebook or X, but it was on social media, and he posted something before the game started.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I have the NFL script for this weekend.
I have that.
Yeah.
I have that.
And he posted that the Panthers were going to make a game of it, and that the LA Rams are going to come back at the end of the game and win the game. And then the Bears game, the Bears were going to be way down in the first half, and then they were going to make this miraculous comeback, and then the Packers were going to score to go back in the lead really late, and then on a miracle pass, Caleb Williams was going to win the game. And basically everything he said all came to fruition. And this is stuff this guy posted the day before the games. So
that's something different than what I have. Never mind.
So when somebody does something like this, man, it really makes you put on the tinfoil hat and go, is there really a script to this stuff? And then remember that video we heard a few weeks back where you heard the announcer saying, hey, do you got the script? Yeah.
You know who's in it at the end. I can't believe it. Whatever he was saying. I forgot to do a video on that. But there was during the game, during the Lions game, they were caught in a hot mic moment talking about the script and who was going to be in it at the end. And I was like, great, it's the Lions. It's probably the effing Bears. Who knows? I'm gonna keep trying to dig here. I got something I'm trying to find. There's a couple of things that I want to throw up.
Yeah, Joe Gracia, I don't know where that was. It was on one of my feeds somewhere. I don't save everything I see on social media. If I did, I would not have any room on my phone.
Let's go into this one here. This is Packers after the game. And what he's saying here, I wholeheartedly agree with. I feel like this loss is on the Packers more so than it is on the Bears winning the game. I feel like the Packers gave this game up, much like we did against the 49ers. But let's listen to Javon Bullard here, post-game interview.
Oh, yeah. No accountability from this guy.
He says no disrespect to them, but it ain't shit what they did. It's us. We got to finish. We whooping their ass the whole game. We got to finish. Chicago ain't shit special. I love it. Here we go.
No disrespect to them, but it ain't shit that they did. It's us. It's us. We got to finish. We whooping their ass the whole game. Like, that's us. We got to finish.
Hold on.
Shit special. We got to finish. We ain't finished last time. We ain't finished this time. So that's some shit we got to work on within us. It ain't nothing new. Chicago ain't do shit special. They ran what they did. They did what they did. No disrespect to them, but it ain't shit that they did. It's us. It's us. We got to finish. We whooping their ass the whole game. Like, that's us. We got to finish. They ain't do shit special. We got to finish. We ain't finished last time. We ain't finished this time. So that's some shit we got to work on within us. It ain't nothing new. Chicago ain't do shit special. They ran what they did. They did what they did. They made plays. Okay, cool. But a lot of this stuff is on us, and we got to fix that shit.
Does that make you lost like this?
He's not lying, man. Like,
No.
he.
Yeah. Did the Packers beat themselves, or did the Bears win that game?
Well, I think the Packers beat themselves wholeheartedly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did now on the flip side of this coin, did you see Ben Johnson's speech in the locker room afterward?
Oh yeah, I was extremely.
So some people are very mad about it.
Oh, I'm
Some
pissed.
people
Like you
loved it.
Okay, so do you think that Dan
first thing
Campbell?
the first thing he says is F the Packers.
Yeah.
F them guys.
Yeah. But the question is, do you think that Dan Campbell's doing that in the locker room?
No.
I mean, we don't know because we never see it. Right? We don't know. Now, media could be in there and they don't share that. They don't write it. Now, if you knew someone in media and asked them, hey, is Dan Campbell behind closed doors saying F Ben Johnson, F Matt Lafleur? Is that stuff said in the locker room?
Oh, most likely.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't see that. What Ben just pulled off in a moment that he knew was going to be taped, I feel is extremely unbecoming as a head coach. You don't act that way. I mean, and here's exactly what I said to Megan. I'm like, how disrespectful of Ben Johnson to act that way. I don't care what just went down. One, you always take the higher road, but number two,
the win ever.
Yeah, the NFL's a fraternity, though. This is a fraternity of men that every single one of these guys really has their back. They genuinely like each other. Yeah, during the game, it's all war. Afterward, it's usually all laughs. And you might have some disdain for others. You may not respect some of the other people, but you never outwardly express that on a hot mic moment, on a video moment that is going to be spread across the world in the way that Ben Johnson did. Huge disrespect to Matt LaFleur and the Packers. We as fans can say whatever the hell we want because that's our job. But Ben Johnson, he acted like a little child. And I can't wait till they get thrown out of the playoffs this week.
F the Packers.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, that's for us to do.
Yeah. So for me, I loved it. I thought it was great because that's the same thing I was saying. Get them out of there. They didn't deserve to be there anyway.
Right, but the question is, like, how do you feel about it if you're okay? So if you didn't dislike the Packers as much as you do,
yeah,
right.
That was another coach saying that. Okay, let's say that was let's pick one of these other teams. Let's say that was the Patriots and the Chargers.
Mhm.
You know, I would be I wouldn't have much respect for that coach. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
And I don't have respect for Ben Johnson. I don't respect him as a coach. When he was with the Lions, he was too worried about his next job to focus on the job that he had at hand in front of him. And then he goes to his new team. And what does he tell them when they make the playoffs? You guys better focus for the next 5 weeks. If you're not focused, get the F out of here. Well, what a Benedict Johnson he is right there. I mean, that's the pot calling the kettle black. Come on. The dude, oh man, he's walking hypocrite. And
Oh, yeah.
I
1000%.
can't stand Ben Johnson. I hope we beat him every 2 games, every season for the entire length of his career with the Bears. I hope the Bears never beat the Lions in Ben Johnson's tenure.
You know, all the Packers said is that, at least what was being, leaked out there and talked about, was that they wanted to play the Bears in the playoffs. That's all that I heard that was being flown
and
around.
You had Jeff Hafley come out and guarantee a win for the Packers.
Okay. I didn't hear that part, but either way, that's not F the Bears, F Ben Johnson, F that guy. Ben would even shake his hand afterwards.
Yeah, but they got into it shaking hands in the first 2 games that they played each other, and Packer fans were relentless.
As they should be.
With the Bears suck. The Bears suck. The Bears suck. Well, the Bears are tired of it.
The Bears do suck.
They do, but they've been down for so friggin' long, and the Packers have been the big bully for so long. They're sick of it.
Yeah.
And they finally had enough. So I'm cool with it.
All right, let's go into the tinfoil hat. This guy broke it down really well. Here we go.
Hey, there we go.
I'm not the smartest man in the world. I'm not an NFL guru. But I want to ask my people that's in Green Bay, that's in Wisconsin, why the fuck don't Jordan Love run? He could have ran for this first down. Look at this play. It's 3rd and 2. I want y'all to see how wide open this lane is. And he just don't take it.
Same shit that gets said about Jared Goff, but
Stop
this
the ball,
was
bitch.
wide open.
Yeah.
Watch how wide open this lane is.
Right there. Should have took off.
There's no one right there. 2-yard run.
Yeah, he only needed 2 yards.
Yeah, that's it. And it was
It's 3rd and 2.
It was wide open.
What's the worst that can happen? If you throw the ball out of bounds, you're definitely not getting the first down. But if you run, you might get a reasonable spot. You might get a fucking face mask. You might get something. Why don't he run the ball? JL, just lackadaisical.
Because Matt LaFleur called a pass. Just like Ben
but
Johnson did on 3rd and 1.
the point is, and I think where where he was going with this, but others went deeper, is Jordan Love not running for the first down that was wide open. I mean, it wasn't in the beginning, but before he passed that ball, he had enough of a lane that he could have scrambled for 2 freaking yards. He probably could have got 3.5 all day. There's that. And then there's what I was saying earlier, that the Packers decided to just open it all up on the defense and allow everything underneath. And that was all pretty much the 4th quarter. They stopped going downfield on the offense. They stopped passing the football. Hell, their rookie started to have a decent game, got his first touchdown the entire season in the playoffs. Matthew Golden got his first touchdown in the playoffs. And he was actually looking pretty good on some of those passes. Take it away for 10 seconds. I got to do something with my dog.
All right. Well, I'm going to move on to another game that's going to be happening. So the 49ers, they beat the Eagles, and they're going to go to the Seahawks next week, and they're going to play the Seahawks. So I looked something up, and no NFL number 1 seed has ever played 2 teams from their own division in the playoffs before, because there is a high chance that this is going to happen for the first time ever. The Seahawks are going to play the 49ers this weekend. And then when the Rams beat the Bears, they'll have to play the Rams in the NFC Championship game. So we could see for the first time ever a number 1 seed have to play 2 teams from their division to go to the Super Bowl. Did you catch any of that, Will?
No. I didn't have my ears in.
All right. So I was talking about the Seahawks.
Yeah. What about them?
They are going to play the 49ers this weekend.
Oh,
And I looked it up. No NFL number 1 seed has ever had to play 2 teams from their own division to make their way to the Super Bowl. And
hold on.
the
Say
49ers
say that again.
So no number 1 seed has ever had to play 2 teams from their own division to make it to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So the Seahawks might be the first one. They might have to play the 49ers. And if they beat the 49ers, they might have to play the Rams if the Rams beat the Bears. So that'd be the first time in NFL history that a team has to go through their own division to make it to the Super Bowl.
Interesting. I had one more.
Yeah, that'd make. I think it's going to make for some really good games, because what teams know each other the best? Teams that have already played each other twice this year.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean we've had to face, a lot of teams have to face their divisional opponent.
But that'd be like us being number 1.
The difference is
and
the number
having
1
to
seed.
face. Yeah, it would have been like last year, us being the number 1 seed and having to face the Packers and the Bears, or the Packers and the Vikings in the playoffs. Imagine an NFC Championship game against the Vikings in Ford Field. That would have been, oh my God, what a game that would have been.
All right, I had one more thing on the Bears here. Let me check my mic, man. I feel like
Yep, you're quiet.
Yeah, it feels like it's just restrict. No, it's up there. There's nothing wrong with it.
Okay.
I don't get it. It just sounds restricted to me. But anyway, here we go. I had this one last thing. Speaking of the Bears and their situation this season. So the Bears are a statistical weirdo. I'll just leave it at that. So the Bears, 2 comebacks versus the Packers this year, saw their lowest win probability at 0.5% and 3%. The chances of achieving both is 0.015%, or 1 in 6,666. They have a half dozen other improbable comebacks this year. The team is a statistical impossibility. So that's where I'm going to go with it again. Put on your tinfoil hat. How much of this is the NFL and the, Vegas or whatever? And hear me out for a second. Just hear me out. And I'm not saying that the Bears haven't done anything to help win some games. They most certainly have. But I'm going to leave it. I'm going to say it like this. The Lions had a very down year this year, right? Unexpected for a lot of us. But what happened the last few seasons? We get a new coach in 2021, new GM. We start to rebuild the team the right way. Sheila Hamp is the principal owner. Which was a change, again, from her mother, from her father to her mother to her. So the new breed, right, is in town. The Lions, atrocious first year as it should be, right? The team was nowhere built like it was for Ben Johnson and the Bears. Dan and Brad took over a team that was completely then gutted, right? Had to build it back up. 2022, no one really wanted to play us when we were 9-8. Had we made the playoffs that year, hell, we could have won it that year. Unlikely, but damn, that defense was playing great at the end of the season. The point I'm trying to make is it seemed like at that point when we finished 9-8, we threw Aaron Rodgers out of the NFC North, and then we started to win football games. In 2023, we go to the NFC Championship. We do some things that we haven't done in 30-plus years, win a couple of home playoff games. in 2024. Somehow we win 15 games on the backs of our backups, and we lose in the divisional round, 1 seed. I mean, things that we just never thought were going to happen, right? And you even heard it from fans, how much of the NFL is pushing this. Even though we had a lot of penalties not go our way, at the end of a lot of those games, there was penalties going against other teams. If you go back and watch the fourth quarter of just about every game when it really mattered, go look at the penalty swing. The pendulum swung the other way to our opponent often in the fourth quarter. And I'm not saying that was the only reason why we won the game, but there was some things going on in just about every game that really mattered that don't make sense, especially when you put it in context with what I'm going to say next. The NFL knows 2 things for sure. Well, 1 thing for sure, but 2 teams, even a 3rd team, the Browns, that can do a lot of good for the NFL. When you have a fan base that has been restricted for a long time, that are still showing up, they're still going to games, they're still buying gear, what is that fan base going to do when their team is really good? Well, they're going to buy way more stuff. They're going to go to more games. They're going to get all amped up and excited, and they're going to spend oodles of money, and you can raise the prices, which is exactly what happened in Detroit for 2 seasons in a row. Prices went sky high for tickets. That organization, the Detroit Lions, is now making more money than most teams in the league. So when you take a smart business decision, which is, and again, if any of this were true, we're going to help this team become better because we know the bottom line for the NFL is the teams that have been great for the last 10 years. Well, those fans aren't going anywhere. They're still going to buy stuff. They're still going to show up because they actually believe that their team can go to the Super Bowl every year. The Chiefs, right? Hell, even the Patriots, even though they took a nosedive for a while, they still show up. You know, teams like the Jets, they're the next one. Teams like the Browns, they're the next one. Teams like the Bears, they're the next one. You watch what's going to happen this year. Chicago's going to announce that they're going to raise ticket prices. Hell, they probably already have. And then they're going to do it again next year. The Bears will get close again next year, but they won't win it. And then that 3rd year, after, raising ticket prices, they're going to take a nosedive. I'm calling it right now. The Lions took a nosedive this year. But what do you think is going to happen next year? I'm almost willing to bet that the Lions either go all the way or very, very close to all the way. Why? Because you have to reinvigorate that fan base again. You have to relight the fire. You have to make sure that the fans understand, it just wasn't a 1-year wonder or a 2-year wonder or, nope, they're actually good. Keep buying those jerseys. Keep buying those $20 hot dogs. The NFL's not stupid. They're about money, number one. And the best way to fix your bottom line with any team or any franchise, the NFL as a whole, I mean, they got to pay out some ridiculous amount of money potentially in this big scandal, right? What was it, like a $16 billion settlement or something crazy like that? Whatever the number was, or $4 billion, whatever the number was.
Anything about that?
Yeah, well, it's kind of on hold. It's going to be going through the Supreme Court. So the best way to fix that and make that money, well, let's make the Bears a better team because then that fan base is going to buy a lot more stuff. Let's make the Browns the next best franchise coming up because they're going to need to buy more stuff. And how about them lowly Jets? They've been around for a long time. They ain't won shit. But they got a new coach now. Aaron Glenn's pretty fiery and fun to watch on the sideline. Why don't we help them out? So you watch. The Bears, they'll be good next year. They won't go anywhere. The Browns, they're going to come out of nowhere. And the Jets, they're going to come out of nowhere. 2 worst to first teams for me in 2026. Browns, Jets.
Lions.
Well, Lions, we've been at the top. We took a slide. Well, yes,
Yeah,
we'll be back too.
We're last. We're going worst. We're going from first to worst and worst to first in 2 years.
So there you go. I think that's why you're seeing some of this stuff happen. I mean, the Chargers, look, they haven't really been around. They're all of a sudden back again. The Patriots, they're back, and they're all the way back. Who else is in the playoffs this year that maybe you could make that argument for?
Well, everybody, because this year we don't have the 2 Super Bowl teams. We don't
Panthers.
have all. Well, yeah,
Panthers are
you got
back.
the Panthers are in the playoffs this year.
It's crazy. The
Bears are in
Jags,
the playoffs this year.
the
The
two-
Jags are in the playoffs
Right.
this year.
When you look at the teams in the playoffs, the Steelers, they're back. When you look
Yeah.
at the teams that don't belong, the teams
Texans.
that have right, the Texans should have been in. You know, they took a slide last year, and they finished 12-5 after starting the season out not so hot. Steelers started out the season good and then fell off and somehow limped their way in. But again, these are all fan bases that have either been struggling or worse, something at one point, fell off for a while. They need to relight that fire again. And I mean, you have 25% of the league with new coaches, at least right now, 25% of the league is going to have new coaches in 2026. Some of those teams are going to get that fire relit again.
A quarter of the league is going to have new coaches.
Is it crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's crazy. I don't know the last time we've had that many.
The record is 9. So I was wondering if one of these teams that were in Wildcard weekend were going to fire their coach, and if the Packers would have, that would have made the record of 9.
So I guess where I'm looking at this from the standpoint of, if there's a team that should win the Super Bowl this year that fits this model a little bit, it's the Bills. So the Bills have been kind of fighting, working their way back, have been relevant every year that Patrick Mahomes has been relevant. Well, now he doesn't have to go through Patrick Mahomes, even though the Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season, right? Then they don't have to go through that hurdle anymore. They if you look at what's up next for the Bills here, let me look up the play.
Broncos.
And there's another team, the Broncos. Where did they come from? They got Sean Payton, and now they're all of a sudden better after 2-3 seasons. Their first year, we go in and smoke them. Right? Dan Campbell goes and lays the wood down on Sean Payton. Broncos don't have a good year that year, and now they're all the way back. I would say that if you look at, I just want the damn playoff picture, please. Thank you. If you look at the team that probably makes the most sense, the Seahawks are back. They're the number 1 seed. The Broncos are back. They're the number 1 seed. You look at all these teams, and the only ones that really belonged in here were probably the Bills, the Rams, the Eagles. I mean, from the standpoint of these teams should be in there. Where's the Chiefs? They're not in there. The 49ers typically belong in there, right? But a lot of these other teams don't. And I feel like it's a resurgence of the NFL to get all these fan bases back on board to help fix that bottom line. I wish that I was smart enough to have the financial stuff pulled together or have somebody do it. How much more money did that franchise make? Well, I'll be able to get the report here in a couple of months. How much more team did that franchise make year over year because they went to the playoffs? Yeah. Not just playoff ticket sales, but I'm talking jersey sales and hot dogs. You know what I'm saying? I want to know those raw numbers. How much more money was actually made from this team because they went in there and were able to fix a few things, but get this team back to a playoff team and get that fan base energized. So that's my soapbox for the day. I feel like it's intentional. So whether there's a script truly, or whether there is a business plan that says we need these teams to be better this year because our bottom line depends on it.
Well, I'm going to ask you this. Who were the 2 number 1 seeds last year?
Well, the Lions were 1. Who was the other? The Chiefs? No, the Chiefs weren't.
The Chiefs.
Yeah, they were, weren't they?
So the Lions and the Chiefs, guess where they are not at this year? They're not in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, they're not in it. And the
Both-
Eagles are already out.
Yep, both teams that were in the Super Bowl, they're not here for the divisional round. So you have all new teams. All new teams. The only teams you have back, so the 49ers, they won 6 games last year. They were a 4th place team. The Broncos, they didn't go to the playoffs last year. Patriots, they didn't go to the playoffs last year. And the Bears, they didn't go to the playoffs last year. The only playoff teams from last year left are the Bills and the Rams. So this is completely different from last year. Man, so there's a bunch of fan bases getting a huge injection right now. And maybe that's the plan. Start getting all the teams kind of involved in the playoffs every couple of years to get all those season ticket prices to go back up.
Yeah, so like teams like the Bucks, you know, that they've been hot for the last several seasons. They're out this year. The Ravens, another team that you would expect to typically be in, they're out this year. The Vikings have been decent for many years, but you know they've been teetering. They're out this year. The Cowboys, America's former team, they're out this year.
Yep.
Who else? I mean, the Commanders, 1 year wonder right now. We don't know what's going to happen with that franchise. I mean, they're already firing, you know, offensive coordinators down there.
Stealing the one we wanted.
Yeah. Well, yeah, one of the ones. Yep. Dolphins. I mean, damn good franchise. They're out this year. So I think if you could make a good solid argument, obviously I didn't prepare any of this, so I didn't, you know, pull anything together, but I think it's a good conversation to have, get you thinking in the direction that maybe just pay attention. Just pay attention. That's why I believe you have some teams that go worst to first because of the work that they do and the players that they pull in and the players that are, you know, getting better and better every year. It just makes sense, right? As a rookie, you kind of navigate, you go through it. Your second year, depending on how well you did in the draft, your rookies from the previous year should help you take a significant step, whether that's an additional 1 win, 2 wins, 3 wins. I don't know. That's another great segment. You know, that's another great opportunity to go in. I got to take this to go in and figure that out. Just run with it, Eric.
All right. Oh, so the matchups for the divisional round this weekend are going to be the 49ers at the Seahawks. The Bills are going to be at the Broncos. The Patriots are going to play whoever wins tonight. And then the Rams are going to play at the Bears. Now, let me pull something up quick. I'll tell you guys what the spreads are for this weekend so far. Now, there won't be one for the Patriots game because they don't know who they're going to play. But the Rams opened up as 4.5 point favorites against the Bears, but now it's down to a 3.5 point. If I can get this open, there we go. So the LA Rams at the Chicago Bears is minus 3.5 with an overall under of 51.5 points. And then the Buffalo Bills are 1.5 point road favorites versus the Denver Broncos with a 46.5 point over under. The San Francisco 49ers, they are a 7 point underdog to the Seahawks with a 45.5 point over under total. And then the Houston Texans tonight over the Pittsburgh Steelers by 3 points, they're saying, with an over under of only 38.5 points. This is going to be the defense matchup. So it's probably going to be a really high scoring game and go over that over under. And then we'll know the over under for the Patriots game once this game tonight is concluded.
All right, just a quick recap here on the game since it's already 10 o'clock. Took me an hour to get rolling this morning. Rams 34 over the Panthers 31. Matthew Stafford doing Matthew Stafford things, man. Hell of a game by Matthew Stafford. Packers, obviously, we know they folded like a tent, went home. The Bills barely pulled it out against the Jags, and I got to hand it to Josh Allen. I mean, the last 2 minutes of that game, wow. I mean, the way that he took that first down, ran, and then it was like pushed forward by his offensive line. I think that was a 4th down call, or it might have been a 3rd down call.
It was
what a play, man! And then to go in and get the touchdown right after that. I mean, just an incredible play.
Want to know something funny, Will?
Sure.
The Buffalo Bills are one of the teams that voted against the tush push.
Against meaning to get rid of it?
Yes, to get rid of it.
I don't know. I don't know if they really used the tush push though.
They did. They used the tush push on 4 plays and were successful on all 4 tush pushes.
I'm talking about that specific set of plays. I don't remember seeing the tush push.
Yeah, they did a tush push and got a touchdown on 4th and 1 out of it. With Josh Allen.
I didn't see a tush push.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
see the I didn't see the offensive lineup as a tush
Oh,
push.
you go back and watch it. They did the tush push.
Really?
Yes.
The play before that they didn't though.
I'm telling you right now.
I'm gonna go in and find out.
They were 4 for 4 on the tush push.
Yeah, I'm not saying about not doing any tush pushes, just those set of plays there. I could be
When
wrong.
they pushed him all the way and he scored the touchdown. That was the tush push.
All right, let me go in and find out for sure, real quick.
I had that pulled up this morning.
Hold on here. Fourth quarter. Go to the touchdown first.
I just thought it was funny that a team that voted against it used it 4 times and was successful 4 times with it.
This isn't a tush push. Not when you look at what the Eagles do. Like, this is a modified. I think it's more of a modified because you've got a running back, fullback back there that just kind of helps Allen. But if you look at their offensive line, it's not, the one doesn't dive on the ground. He actually just goes forward. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's kind of a modified tush push, if you will. But I think, I think you could look at it either way, honestly. I wouldn't call it a tush push, but
ESPN says 10-yard tush push leads to go-ahead Bills touchdown.
that's the play that I want to see. That's the play I want to see.
Yeah. It's the first thing. They even have a clip of the play.
So
on ESPN.
I'm trying to get to it now.
I just typed in Google Bills tush push versus Jags.
Yeah, no, I'm on NFL Pro. How about that interception, man, to seal the game?
Oh God, yeah. That
was a hell of a play.
It was a hell of a game. Like, all the games were really good. This weekend was such a treat as an NFL fan. Now, I wasn't really rooting for anyone. I was just hoping for good games, and it was fun to see all these back and forth lead changes in the fourth quarter. It was an amazing weekend for football.
All right, so again, if you're calling a tush push where a defensive back or a running back gets behind your quarterback and helps them, push them forward, if that's what they're labeling a tush push, then yes, by definition, it would be a tush push. When I look at what the Eagles do with their tush push, they have a totally different offensive line formation.
Yeah. Well,
totally
they're
different.
Super, super tight, and
yeah,
everybody's bunched in. But
Yeah.
it's a person behind the quarterback pushing the quarterback. That's what the rule is.
See, I thought that they were
the
more
big deal
concerned about
was-
the offensive line being the major problem because you can't see what they're doing. Hell, Panay Sewell's back there pushing Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, somebody all the time, through the process of the play. I guess it's a modified tush push.
Yeah.
It's modified from the Eagles, which I kind of like that one better, honestly. If that's what
I
they're
just
calling
thought it was funny that a team that voted against it used it.
Hey, man, you might as well. Maybe the Lions will
Yep.
start doing some things that make sense too. All right, 49ers 23 over the Eagles 19. Again, just the fourth quarter dominance here by the San Francisco 49ers, putting up 13 points to their 3, and their defense holding strong even after Kittle goes out. Question for you, Eric. Kittle going to retire now?
Oh, he's done.
I think he's done too.
Because you're not going to play at all next season.
Nope.
Next season is out the window for sure. And him already was thinking this was it. This was the last one anyway, because he's been contemplating retiring. So yeah, I think this was the nail in the coffin. And when you watch the replay of that play and you watch his calf just boom shoot up, oh, you knew right away. Even I'm not a medical doctor, and the first thing I said, well, oh, there goes his Achilles. And comes out after the game that yes, he ruptured his Achilles.
Yeah, that was wicked, man. That was wicked. All right, last game. We already talked about it. Patriots 16 over the Chargers 3. No offense at all. Harbaugh, question in the chat too. Comments later. Is Harbaugh making enough change in LA? I mean, is he doing enough for you to make it into the playoffs and put up 3 points? That's not enough for me.
He's doing the same thing the coach before him did.
I don't even know. I can't remember the last time the Chargers made the playoffs.
Just make the playoffs once in a while and don't do nothing once you get there.
Just a terrible game. Terrible game. I mean, he looked confused. You know, I was hoping to see, I would love to see a Harbaugh brothers reunite as coaching on the same side, you know, offensive, defensive gurus respectively. I would love to see that. It's probably not going to happen, but I would love to see it. I think they would be fun to watch.
You want to see John Harbaugh coach with Jim Harbaugh?
Yeah. I think that'd be great, man. I do. I think well, not only will they be great, but I think it would just be good to watch. Really, honestly, I think that they put some of the best products on the field. And then if they did Hard Knocks, that would make it even better to hear the brotherly arguments. You know, I think that would just be made for TV.
But then what if he has to fire his brother?
They'd probably have to have a clause in there that they can't fire him. You know, that they'll have to mutually just part ways, or they'd have to fire each other. They're both out. I don't know. Anyway, I just think it'd be fun. All right, we'll be right back in a few moments.
Yeah. On my phone was Peyton Manning. He said, Jeff, I feel your pain. Will you join me in exorcising the curse of Bobby Lane? Just like that, we started winning. Just like that, we were playoff bound. Just like that, way up in heaven, Bobby Lane turned around. Say goodbye to all that sorrow. Say goodbye.
All right, do me a huge favor and check out DetroitFootballJournal.com. Subscribe today, get yourself a free 6-month membership, and if you become a member of the channel on YouTube, you will automatically be upgraded to the DetroitFootballJournal.com as a member. You just got to let me know what your email is, because I don't get that information through YouTube. So you'd have to email mailbag@rockdown.com. But if you don't want to spend the money to support the channel through YouTube, simply just sign up for free on DetroitFootballJournal.com. Put your email in. Do not put a credit card in unless you feel like supporting the channel that way through Detroit Football Journal. But a free 6-month subscription membership for anybody that signs up right now. We've brought in a ton of new subscribers and have had some good feedback from some scouts, if I could get my words out, from some scouts around the league about some of the breakdowns that I put together. And up next, I want to talk about a couple of coaching opportunities for the Lions at offensive coordinator and the ones that I feel like don't make sense. So we'll get into that right now. Eric, it's been kind of a wild week or so. A lot of different names being floated around. We lost the opportunity to bring in David Blau as the offensive coordinator, as the Washington Commanders pass game coordinator. He was in search of a venue to take him in as an offensive coordinator so he could upgrade his position, right? And set to interview with the Lions, a couple other teams. Washington decides to go ahead and retain him. upgrade his position. He will now be calling plays for the Commanders in 2026. I have to say, this is a huge letdown. I know a lot of people do not agree with me, and that's okay. You are entitled to your opinion. But when I look at this, I don't look at this from the eyeglass of, or the lens that he was a former shitty backup quarterback. That's not how I look at this. What I look at this from is he was a former quarterback that has the intelligence of a quarterback, that has the processing speed of a quarterback, that has an extremely good education, and he's been around the league and playing in the league for more than 10, 15 years, whatever it's been. And he's very well respected, as he's also one of the hottest names that was floated in the coaching cycle for offensive coordinator this season. With all of that said, I did a really good write-up. I'm sorry, I don't want to gloat. I wrote something up about David Blau. I only say it's really good because that's what I heard back. You can check it out on DetroitFootballJournal.com. And anyway, the Commanders are going to keep him. So what's up next? It's kind of funny that David Shaw goes to interview for the OC position in Tampa. Who else from the Lions went to go interview this past weekend?
Jet Mockins.
Right.
He went to interview for the special teams coordinator position. So that's 2 Lions with interviews with the Tampa Bay Bucks, one for OC with David Shaw, and then Jet Mockins for the special teams coordinator.
So I'm less concerned about Jet Mockins.
Yeah.
But the offensive coordinator for Tampa, Josh Grizzard, is someone that I do believe has an opportunity in Detroit. I don't know that the Lions have even announced this one yet about interviewing Josh Grizzard, but the fact that Shaw would be heading, potentially that way, they let Grizzard go just after a season. And I feel it was premature, and I think that this was a Todd Bowles save your ass kind of moment. Please check out the Josh Grizzard article on DetroitFootballJournal.com. I believe that he is the modern hybrid option. He's been around a lot of different coaches. I think that he fits the Lions' next evolution at the position. And here, I'll drop this for you in the chat. But the next guy I really wanted to talk about is Jake Peetz. Now, he's a lesser-known name. Not a lot of people know who this guy is or what he's all about. But what I'm about to tell you should perk up your ears. Now, I'm all for, right? I'm all for, getting someone that has the experience like an individual of Jake Peetz. Doesn't mean that he has 20 years of head coaching experience and offensive coordinator experience. You don't really need that. And I don't think that we want a guy that is, been around the league a ton, really old in the league, old period, and kind of stuck in their own ways, right? I think you need someone that is still young enough, adapting, learning, sponging, taking things from everybody, and building something of your own. But the new nuanced ways of the NFL and passing offenses, I think that you need someone that is a little bit younger, that's a little bit faster, sharper in the brain, faster processing speed, as opposed to someone that's a little bit older. And I say that also to double down on this. Even though Mike McDaniel is still set to come in and sit down with the Detroit Lions and go through an interview, I'll go ahead and throw this Rock's Lock out for you, especially for the stalker out there listening right now. The Rock's Lock is the Rock's Lock is this. Mike McDaniel will become a head coach somewhere. And even if he's not this year, he will next year. So let me ask all of you this, and I want to make a poll out of it today. Do you want a 1-year rental at OC? Just like you have a 1-year rental as a player, bringing in a player, on the last year of their deal. You bring them in on the trade deadline. You get a couple of games with them. Do you want a 1-year rental at the OC position? And what I've heard, Eric, is this.
No.
Well, we just need to push it all in and go all in. We need to get the best guys in the room and just go after it. One season, just go. Okay? And when you don't win the Super Bowl, what are you going to do next year? Start all over again?
Yeah. And Dan Campbell said as much. He's tired of losing people.
Well, he's going to have to get used to that because he's doing a damn good job of getting these guys ready.
Well, I get it. But when he was considering whether or not he's going to call plays, that he's like, well, I don't have to replace somebody if I keep calling plays.
As long as he's still in Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I agree wholeheartedly. So Jake Peetz is who I'm going to talk about. But guys like Mike McDaniel, I love the archetype. I love the nuanced version of his passing schemes. I don't like the ego. I think he's got this weird aura about him. So do I. We all got something, right? Yeah. I just don't think I think he's oil and water in Detroit. I don't think that he fits. Doesn't mean that he can't be an amazing offensive coordinator.
He's got 4 head coaching job interviews this week.
Yeah.
And he's only got 1 OC interview, and that's with the Lions.
And then you have Brian Daboll. I think he's an immediate fit. I think that him and Dan Campbell have the same style of vision, same energy. And I know that he would be a great offensive coordinator. We've seen it already, and he doesn't require a guy that has wheels for legs. Again, 1-year rental. I think that Daboll could be the next head coach. A little lesser degree than Mike McDaniel, though. He might not be getting a head coach job this year, but will he next year? Now, I haven't gone through all the teams to figure out who's on the hot seat, but right now, we know that Lafleur is on a hot seat, and if they don't work out a deal, and he, works his last year under this 1-year, deal that he has left, I think that tells you something.
What if they make Lafleur a lame duck coach?
Well, that would suck, but it's not like a coach is going to hold out. I'm just not going to show up.
Dude, what do you think would happen if they lame duck him? Do you think that Lafleur shows up for that last year of coaching? Knowing that he has no future?
He will. But the question is, how much better would the Packers be if your ass is on the hot seat? You might do some things that are a little bit rash. Maybe you get rid of some players. Maybe you treat players like crap. I don't think you want to do that. And I don't think you want to do that because I think it can go the opposite direction. You could alienate yourself from the team. You could alienate the players, and I think that would be the absolute wrong message and wrong idea. So if they're not going to get rid of him, they have no choice but to add at least 1 more year to his deal. And if it's only 1 more year, I think it tells you something.
He's got a rough road ahead.
Yeah, he does.
They're losing 9 of their starters to free agency. They're already negative in cap space. They're like
no first round picks.
4th worst team with cap space. They have no first round picks.
Honestly, Eric, if I'm Lafleur, I'm going to put my hand up and say, I want out.
Yeah, this might be the time.
You just cash strapped me and sold my future draft picks down the drain. Get me the hell out of here to a team that has some draft cap and some salary cap. That's what I would be saying. Get me the hell out of here. I'm out. I'm volunteering to leave if I'm Matt LaFleur. All right, so who else is up for head coach? So John Harbaugh, we know he's going to end up somewhere. So that doesn't make any sense. Who else did I write about?
Cliff Kingsbury?
Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury. Obviously, I think that he's going to get a head coaching job somewhere. Kevin Stefanski. I didn't write anything about him yet. But Kevin Stefanski, he's probably going to end up somewhere. And so all those 1-year rentals, I just don't think that they make a whole lot of sense. But Jake Peetz just might make all the sense in the world. And no, this is not the only guy. But the Lions cast a giant net for somebody to come in and fix the offense. Now, this guy has an archetype of McVay and Brady. He's a hybrid of Joe Brady, Sean McVay. He was a passing game specialist in L.A., having worked under McVay, but he also possesses that spread offense DNA of Joe Brady. He worked alongside Joe Brady in Carolina and replaced him as an offensive coordinator at LSU. He's not just a West Coast kind of guy. He's an architect who really blends all of these complex pro styles together. And it's created an explosive receiver-friendly concept of the modern college game into the pro game. And if you look at what he did in LA and the responsibility that he had for Puka Nacua in his rookie season, I think that tells you something. So Peetz is been this silent engine behind 3 of the league's most impressive aerial attacks or displays on offense. He was instrumental with Puka Nacua's historic rookie season with the Rams in 23. He moved to Seattle where he helped orchestrate Geno Smith's late career prime in 24. And then Cian Smith set franchise records for completions and yards. And then he proved his adaptability by seamlessly transitioning away from Smith to Sam Darnold. Who would have thought, right? But he maximized the veteran skill set of Sam Darnold to keep that unit firing at an elite level. Now, his track record with the quarterbacks is undeniable. He coached Derek Carr to 2 Pro Bowls at Oakland. He helped Teddy Bridgewater achieve career highs in Carolina. And for a Lions team led by Jared Goff, a quarterback who needs structure and easy buttons, just like every other quarterback, Peetz brings the exact intellectual property of the McVay system that Goff was originally built in. To me, that makes a lot of sense. You're bringing back the identity that Goff knows well, that he succeeded in, the same identity that they were using with Ben Johnson. That was the McVay system handed to Ben Johnson. Might have been the stupidest thing that they did for Ben Johnson. You gave him the McVay concepts, and now he's using it in Chicago. Now, the argument against this guy is the lack of the physical style, which I think Dan Campbell prides himself on as being a very physical offense. His resume lacks that signature play calling season, too, in the NFL. He's never been a play caller. While he has called plays at LSU, but not in the NFL, the results were very mixed. The program struggled to replicate the magic of that 2019 season. Critics argue that he is a better number 2 than a number 1. Well, wait a second. Wait. I'm loving it because Dan Campbell wants to remain the number 1. He wants to call the plays. So, Eric, wouldn't it be smart for the Lions to bring in a guy that doesn't necessarily have the experience of a play caller, but knows how to build a game plan and is going to bring all of these concepts to you to help build a very effective passing game, but all of these pro style concepts that he's going to mix? Wouldn't that make more sense if they truly are going to lean on Dan Campbell to call plays, have someone that can also help him call plays, but build the offense for him? Wouldn't a guy like Peetz make sense or no?
Well, yeah, he would, because it's the same thing that he did with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson was standing right next to him. They were talking about plays, and Campbell would call in the play. And then after about half or 2/3 the way through the season, he finally let Ben Johnson start calling the plays. And then the next season, he names him the OC. We knew that him and Ben Johnson had something cooking before it actually went through. And he kind of held back the reins for a little bit. Dan Campbell continued calling plays, and then at the end of the season, then he handed it over. And we didn't even really know in the very beginning of the season, that first season with Ben Johnson as the OC, if it was all Ben Johnson or not. And I think it was a bring you along, teach you what to do, and then hand the reins to you once I trust you. And that might be the same sort of situation that he tries to get into once again.
So
where it's going to take, if the guy does take over, well, then it's going to be 2, 3, 4 seasons before people come around trying to steal him from you.
So here's the thing. Like, I'm going to mention something in the chat here. Someone put in here, the NFL is only a 1-year plan. Smart statement. The other statement I see in here, I think if McDaniel gets hired, the thought would be like he would be here longer. And I'll go back to the previous statement. The NFL is a 1-year plan only, right? Both of those things are like oil and water. If McDaniel does come to Detroit, he's gone after a year. He could say, "Oh, sure, I plan to stay there long term. I'll give you the 2-3 seasons," until someone calls them in the spring of 2027 and says, "Hey, we'd like to interview you for the head coaching job." At that point, anything that he said a year ago is off the table. And that's the unfortunate side to the NFL, because these guys can walk away from all their contracts. There's nothing that says they have to finish out their contract. They can go if they're going to get, because it's in the rule book for the NFL under the NFLPA collective bargaining agreement. If these guys are going to get upgraded, see ya.
Yep.
They're gone. If they're not getting upgraded and it's a lateral move, the team can block it. But as long as they're getting upgraded to the next level, then they don't have to stay. Yep, their contract gets canceled. The team saves the rest of that money. Unless you fire a head coach, they still get paid. But they can go sign with anybody they want. So that, again, Peetz makes sense to your point, sticking around for a couple of seasons. Maybe he gets really good, and then teams finally notice, hey, we want this guy. But then at that point, it could be a lateral move, because you can give him the offensive coordinator tag. So what's the only way or where he can go next? Head coach.
Head coach.
So you could give him the tag, lock him down, and then you've got him. Right? I don't think that Mike McDaniel is going to want that. What if you brought in Mike McDaniel, then gave him the assistant coach, tag too?
Hey, what stops a team from giving this Peetz guy the official title of Dan Campbell play caller assistant? Okay. Dan Campbell doesn't wear the headset anymore. His assistant does. And he's a faux offensive coordinator without giving him the title. Is there anything stopping them from doing that, or do they have to give them a title if they're calling the plays?
Your your guess is as good as mine. I think that they can kind of give whatever title they want. I mean, you could bring him in and say that he's just an assistant. You could say that he's a consultant. But yeah. I'm almost going to guarantee that when Peetz lands a job, and if it's a Detroit, it would be offensive coordinator. And the nuance is Dan's calling the plays. Okay, so for instance, who's the offensive coordinator in LA?
No clue. McVay.
Well, he calls the plays, right? But Mike Lafleur is the offensive coordinator, right?
Yeah, he's got a lot of interviews too.
He does. But I'm pretty sure that Mike Lafleur is the offensive coordinator, and I don't have. If you want to look up the Rams coaches on their website, you can see what name they've given them as far as a job. For lack of all the words that are not coming to my brain right now. Here's the risk with bringing in a guy like Peetz, and here's the argument, right? The risk is the analyst trap. Peetz has spent a significant amount of time as a passing game coordinator and in analyst roles. He's transitioning from designing plays on Tuesday to calling them on 3rd and goal on a Sunday is a massive leap. That's why it makes sense if Dan Campbell's going to keep the play calling. How many offensive coordinators want to come to Detroit if Dan's going to keep the play calling? I think that is the number one detractor for us not to get the big names, because you're like, why the hell am I going to go to Detroit if I can't call the plays? I absolutely want to call the plays. Why do I want to take a sideline to this guy? So you have to consider that, and I don't think that anyone else is even talking about that right now. If Dan's truly keeping play calling, why would these guys come? You need someone that is in a situation like Peetz or Blau or somebody else, even though Blau's gone. You also have too many voices as a risk for Peetz because he's worked under so many different offensive minds. McVay, Saban, Brady, Grubb, Kubiak, the list goes on. Imagine those 5 offensive play systems being combined. I think that is an incredible system that he'll be able to bring, assuming he's made notes from everywhere, which I can almost guarantee he has. But the risk is he'll try to run this Frankenstein offense. And that ain't going to work. You have to have an identity. You have to know exactly what you're doing. You can't do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, some of that, not so much of this, a whole lot of this, none of this. Can't do that. You gotta blend everything, but you have to have an identity. Did you find anything out?
Yeah, so Mike Lafleur is the offensive coordinator. He enters his 3rd season with the Los Angeles Rams as the team's offensive coordinator. He joined the team ahead of the 2023 season after serving as the New York Jets offensive coordinator for 2 seasons. Under LaFleur's guidance in 2024, the Rams offense finished 10th in passing per yards and 15th in offensive yards per game. The offense also finished in the top 15 in scrimmage yards and tied for 7th highest 4th down conversion percentage of 66.7. And then I found something very odd. I looked down their list of assistant coaches and stuff, and the assistant head coach passing game coordinator is none other than Aubrey Pleasant, coach that Dan Campbell decided to get rid of.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting. All right, back to Peetz here. His strength as a coordinator. So we've got his risks, we've got his strength, and then kind of why he fits. The Puka Nacua effect, I think, is the most glaring thing. He's an easy lead at identifying matchups for specific receivers. His work ethic and his work with Nacua and JSN in Seattle proves that he knows how to manufacture touches for playmakers. A vital or crucial skill, however you want to look at it, for maximizing Amon-Ra St. Brown. But it's not just St. Brown. It's now Tesla and Jameson Williams. Now, Jameson needs to get his touches and a lot more, so he needs to be a bigger part of the game plan. Protection wizardry. Having coached in the SEC and under McVay, Peetz is known for having detailed understanding of protection schemes, something that we sorely missed this year. Our protection schemes were horrendous. So I think that is something that we have to look forward to, is how are they going to dial up the protections for the quarterback? He knows how to keep a pocket passer like Jared Goff clean. And then fluency at the quarterback position. He treats the quarterback position with the detail of a scientist. His background as a former scout with the Jaguars and a Saban analyst gives him that holistic view of the QB position that few coaches really possess. I think that he fits in Detroit simply because he can be a translator with Jared Goff. Jared Goff's best years have thrived or come in systems that have been derived from the McVay tree. We saw that in 22 and 23. We also saw it when he was in LA. Pete speaks that language and speaks it fluently. He adds the Joe Brady spread elements, which, I mean, I don't know about you, Eric, but I was ready to just beat my head against the wall every time I saw tight formations in every game on 90% of the damn offensive play calls. Like, can we do something different? Can we spread out a little bit? I mean, it was mind numbing. And then you got this grinder culture. Peetz is a former college long snapper and defensive back who worked his way up from being a scouting intern. He's not a guru who was handed a job. He's a grinder. That resonates deeply with Dan Campbell, someone that is going to work for everything that they have. Ideal landing spots, obviously Detroit, Tampa Bay. He interviewed there previously, has connections to Baker Mayfield. Carolina. Now that Carolina's out, if they look to pair up Brian, or they look to pair up Bryce as another with another offensive mind, there could be an opportunity there. The verdict, I think he's the smartest safe hire. He isn't a flashy boy genius or anything like that, but I think that he might be the most competent one and might have the best parts of everything. The schematic safety net, I think, of the McVay system, I think that Goff knows it well, works in it well. It's worked for us very well. He brings enough ideas from Seattle and LSU to keep the offense fresh. If Detroit wants to ensure that not only we have an offensive coordinator, maybe a potential play caller in the future, and an evolving pass game, I think that he could be the perfect architect hire. Any thoughts?
I would have to know how he did in his interview. You know, did the Lions have him lined up for an interview?
I don't think as of right now they do.
Okay.
I haven't seen
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the most recent list today.
Yeah. Do they announce that somewhere who they have?
Yeah, you'll see it
lined
trickled
up for
out.
interviews. Yeah. Seems like the right type of guy, though.
You know what? I
you
haven't checked the portal yet. I haven't checked the NFL portal to
Yeah.
see if they do have that stuff listed.
I do like the fact that someone that is not yet an offensive coordinator. So whether Dan brings someone in like him, my only question would be, is Dan still calling plays, or is Dan calling in someone to call the plays? Is it going to be somebody else's system, or is it going to be a brand new system, or is it going to be the system we're already running with Dan Campbell, and you're going to help Dan Campbell?
Oh, hey, just released.
What's up?
Jake Peetz is going to be interviewing with Detroit.
Yeah, there you go.
And Mike McDaniel, they're the only two. So
Really?
I can't be that big of an idiot because I put this out way before this came out.
Yeah, you did a video on it yesterday.
Well, and I wrote it 2 days before that. But also possible candidates. We already know David Blau is out. Bears offensive coordinator Declan Doyle. I don't even know who the hell that dude is. I'll dig into him today. I don't think anybody from Chicago is coming to Detroit.
No.
New York Giants head coach Brian Daboll. Obviously, you know how I feel about Daboll. I think he's a one-year rental, but I do like the idea. And then
Are these guys that are lined up for an interview?
these are possible candidates. You also have the Denver Broncos passing game coordinator Davis Webb. But interviews requests that are already cemented, Mike McDaniel and Jake Peetz. My question is this. You know, when you look around some of the other teams and you look at, you know, what they're trying to bring in for offensive coordinator and the interviews that they have set up, how come it seems like other teams will have a lot more happening than the Lions, or at least what's being reported? And I think that's a differentiator, is what's being reported. You know, this was as of 17 hours ago that this just came out. So it wasn't just today. It was about 17 hours ago that it was reported that the Lions be interviewing Jake Peetz.
Yeah. There you go. You figured one out before the Lions even did.
That's because they read my report. And then
That's gotta be it.
watched my video.
That's gotta be it.
Yeah, you know it, man. No, they just didn't, you know. Actually, I got the call from Dan. You know, he just said, "Hey, dude, who do you think, man? Who do you think? Who should we look
it's
at?"
that subscriber BH at google.com.
No, it's actually Fire BH. That's what it says. Fire BH.
Yeah. We're good at
We're good at DetroitLions.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny.
To me, that is the most overplayed, lazy narrative in the world.
Because
And
Brad
I tell
Holmes didn't even
people-
say it.
Well, I tell people that all the time. Well, he didn't say it, but that's what he meant. Did you watch his press conference and blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, yes, I watched his press conference.
So now we're inferring, right? It's like when you send
Yeah.
somebody a text and they're like, whoa, why are you so angry in caps? I don't know, because I type in caps often, or I write, I just do, because I'm usually editing. you know, or too many dots, man. Like, what's going on here? Yeah, I don't know. People are stupid. People are stupid.
yeah.
They infer things too much.
That's my one thing on social media. I tell everybody, if they say we're good, I'm like, dude, that is the laziest narrative there is out there.
Yeah.
And I've gotten into it with one or two, let's just say podcasters that use that lazy narrative, and I tell them it's lazy.
It is lazy. It's lazy, but it's wrong. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Is that it's wrong. And wouldn't you rather just be right?
Yeah, Dan Campbell said it one time about Zadarius Smith, and that was it.
Yeah, he said
like,
that.
Oh no, he said it during his press conference, and Brad said we're good, and I'm like, oh,
you go find me the tape where Brad said that we are good. Please let me know. You go find it.
Just a super lazy take.
We went through the playoff picture. Was there anything else you wanted to get through today?
Yeah, so there's one person I'd like to talk about today, and that is a free agent fit for the Detroit Lions.
All right.
The number one position that I think the Lions need to address in free agency is the center position on the offensive line. And everyone wants Tyler Linderbaum from the Ravens, right? He's going to be the number one free agent guy. Well, there's some other guys that might be just about as good that are going to be free agents after the playoffs, and we might just want to take a look at one of them. So a free agent that is under the radar and might just be the solution for the Detroit Lions is a player named Connor McGovern for the Buffalo Bills. And he played very well yesterday in a wild card game against the Jaguars. And McGovern, he checks a lot of boxes. So he was a Pro Bowl selection last season. He was a Pro Bowler. He started in 16 games in Buffalo in 2025. He's got a 69.1 overall Pro Football Focus PFF grade. And then I got a little link there for his grades. He has allowed 0 sacks over the past 2 seasons. And you know, in this league, interior pressure wrecks quarterbacks. And having a center who hasn't surrendered a single sack in 2 seasons, well, to me, that's elite level pass protection. Okay. He's a veteran, and he could stabilize that line with Mahogany and Ratledge. And then, much like Ragnow did, you know, he can help the next generation of this offensive line. And, you know, he's young enough that he might just help solidify this line for quite a long time. And I think that's what you need. I think you need one veteran presence on that offensive line, whether it's at center or at left tackle. And I think it would be better off having it at center than at left tackle. And then drafting the best left tackle in the draft. What do you think about this guy?
Well, I don't know enough. I mean, I haven't done a deep dive. You mentioned him this morning. So what I'm going to have to say is I'm going to have to defer to me doing some more research on Connor McGovern. I mean, I know, obviously I know of him. I know I need to watch some of the tape.
Yep.
And his stats will tell us part of it, but the no sacks over a couple of years, that's great. At least no sacks that were attributed to him. And
yeah,
I need to identify the type of scheme that maybe he works best in, like, you know, how much power run game, how much, you know, inside duo and an outside zone. Is he pinning and pulling often? You know, is he getting to the second level? Does he have the speed? You know, like Ragnow was a special athlete, you know, getting out there in the second level and blocking. How often is he asked to do that? And if he can't, if the answer is not enough, then my answer would be he's not the right choice. Yeah. He has to fit those boxes before anything else. He has to be an elite run game. He has to affect the run game the most. And, and not only that, but also as a, you know, passing Pass game, he has to do his thing, which all centers need to do the thing.
He's 6'5", 318 pounds, and he's 28 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been in the league for a while. His overall grade on PFF is 69.1. His pass block grade 73.4. So he's got it going on in the pass game. Run blocking, that's probably his weakest point, and that's a 65.2. So that's just a little bit about Connor McGovern. God, I get his name all mixed up.
Buffalo, right?
Yeah, for the Buffalo Bills. And then I don't know if you've been watching much college football of the last couple of games.
But
I watched that. I watched that Indiana game the other night, and there was another center that made my eyes light up when I saw what he was doing in the run game. He was pulling as a center and getting on the outside and just putting on the most awesome blocks you've ever seen. And his name is Pat Coogan for the University of Indiana.
Pat
watch
Coogan
out for that. Yep. So watch that kid. He is the number 5 rated center in college right now.
So let me ask you a question. So Connor McGovern, you're thinking trade here, right?
No. He's a free agent at the end of this season.
Is he?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Why is he only on a 3-year deal?
Not sure.
When was he drafted? 2019.
But he's on his second or third contract.
Yeah, he's probably his third contract. So at a 3-year, $22.35 million deal, about $8 million a year, I would say that he's probably going to want to cash in by now.
Even if he gets 10 or 12 million a year.
And if he's
That's
as elite,
way better
if he's as elite as you're saying he is, as far as not allowing any sacks, he's going to want that 18, 19, 20 million. You can almost guarantee it. Now,
he's not young enough for it.
Sure, he is.
A player like Linderbaum is.
No, he's absolutely young enough. He's only 28 years old. He's only been in the league 5 years. The thing is, he was a round 3 pick, number 90 overall.
Yeah.
But he's only 28 years old. He'll still be 28 years old until next November.
But don't you think the Lions would offer him like a 3-year deal?
Probably not. You'd probably want to get him in on a 1-year prove it deal and maybe entice him with a little bit more money, which includes, some additional guarantees, and then still draft somebody. That way you have both options available. You bring somebody in. Let's say you don't bring in a first rounder, or you don't bring in a second rounder. Let's say you draft a center in the 4th round. You need to go out and get somebody in free agency. I'm not riding with Graham Glasgow this year. I'm not.
No.
Graham is a backup, great, but Graham is a starter, not doing it this year.
Do you think Graham even makes the team this year?
Well, I mean, right now he's under contract, so unless he's let go, he's on the team for now. So the other name I'm going to throw back in the ring, like I mentioned last week, was Tyler Linderbaum. I know a lot of Lions fans want this guy. And here's the thing, with John Harbaugh out, if John Harbaugh is, potentially going to the Packers, or anywhere else, I don't think it really matters. I think Linderbaum could be an option now, simply because the next regime is going to want to clean house a little bit. I think that Lamar Jackson is going to be on the trade block. I think there's going to be a few players on the trade block out of Baltimore. And it's going to be really interesting to see what Baltimore does, because maybe the ownership is like, you know what? We've been middling at best, and we've been teetering, playoff contender every year, but we need more. How do we get there? Well, we need to shed dead weight. We need to, shed some salary cap. We're going to start by not retaining our center. We're going to get rid of Lamar Jackson. That could be enough of a reset to be able to bring in some draft picks, and go from there. So Linderbaum could be on the table. I just don't see the Lions spending that $20 million on a center unless, and if or when Graham Glasgow retires Taylor Decker retires and some salary cap opens up. Then I see him being players from that situation. Makes sense or no?
Oh yeah. I mean, in a perfect world, Tyler Linderbaum makes the most sense. But I think we're going to have to look outside the box. So that's why I brought this Connor up, McGovern, and why I brought up Pat Coogan from Indiana, because they're not the number one guys. And if you go back and look at a lot of the drafts we've had, was what, like, just say like last year, Tate Ratledge the number one guard on most people's lists?
No, he wasn't on mine.
No. He was like second, third, fourth. And those are the type of players that I think Brad is going to be looking at. He's looking for that player that's really good, but might still be a little bit of a diamond in the rough. And I'm going to tell you this right now. In 3 years, you're going to be like, Tate Ratledge is a monster. This kid is awesome. Brad got it absolutely right. And I have full faith that Tate Ratledge will be much, much better in his second and third season.
Oh, for sure. He's going to take a huge step forward in 2026. Honestly, there was an article written about him the other day that I didn't get a chance to read, but I read the headline where, he said that, I need to get better. I need to play to the standard, above the standard next season. He really feels that his rookie season was a failure, and he wants to play better. He wasn't terrible. Like he was still I think in the top 20 for all guards as far as rating, which as a rookie, you're a top 20 guard. I mean, there's 64 starting guards and you're in the top third as a rookie. That's really good. It's really good. Now you can't expect everyone, and he's a second round pick. You can't expect everyone to come in and be the best ever or a top 5 or a top 10. The fact that you're a top 20 speaks volumes and it was a rough season, going through 8 different offensive line formations. A very rough season for him, and a shit season because of Johnny Moe and his confusatory tactics. Totally came in and screwed this team up. So I look forward to him being a much better football player in year 2. All right, real quick, I'm just gonna have some fun, Eric. Real quick, okay. I know we're going way over. If you got to bounce, you just tell me. Maybe this is 10 minutes. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Here we go. Why not F around and find out? Mock draft number 1.
All right, my first round pick.
Yeah,
at Coogan from Indiana.
Right.
There you go.
It's a little early to start doing mocks. I know a lot of people are. It's way early.
Dude, I can't even think about draft yet.
Oh, you have to. That's where we're at now. So.
I know. But I haven't been to the combine yet.
So you got to do all the work before you get there, and then you got to let the combine settle it up for you on who's good, who's bad. Let me finish out the poll. So the poll question was, do you want a 1-year rental at OC? 62% of you said no on 63 votes. I'm glad you said that. I agree. Eric, do you agree or disagree?
Oh yeah, I do not want a 1-year rental. That's why I kind of don't want Mike McDaniel. I would much rather have Peetz. I'm going to tell you that right now, than Mike McDaniel or someone. I don't know. I don't know who else. But
so before I forget, there is a new feature that I'm going to roll out, and we're going to have some fun together. I have a room set up to do draft work together. So if you would like to be part of some of the fan mock drafts, we're going to do them together. All I need is an email. So email me at mailbag@rockdown.com and put in the subject line, I don't know, just draft something, or write me a message that says that you want to be part of the fan drafts. And what it is you're going to select a team, and you'll pick the picks for that team. And your goal is to not screw it, just like, screw it, I'm going to give him a punter in round 1. Can't do that. You actually got to treat it fairly honestly. And we're just going to have some fun. I'll do a few of these this year. I'll take the Lions pick, and then I'll share that around 2, right? So in the first one, I'll be the Lions. Second one, Eric will be the Lions. And then after that, we'll share it. And I guess it's whoever, really wants to get involved first. So here's what I'm going to do in this one. This one is just totally for fun. But let's just say if the Lions, hold on, I got to find there we go. Let's just say the Lions can't get the players that they want, right? Arvell Reese, he's an extremely young, talented linebacker. I think any team would love to have. Ruben Bain, I think he could slide. I know that's crazy, right? Mesidor, I think he could fly up the board, but still you could potentially get him in the 2nd or 3rd round. I think my way early pick in my article was a late 2nd or mid 2nd. Who else? Some of the hotter names. Caleb Downs, if somehow Caleb Downs is available, safety 1st round. And all the measurements and everything is great. But let's just say he's not available. And so you get to pick 17, and Caden Proctor's gone, and Muagoy or whatever his name is, the other, tackle is gone, and the top safety's gone, the top linebacker's gone, the top 2, edge rushers are gone. What do you do? If the centers look like they're going to end up in the 2nd round, do you move back? Right? We don't have a 3rd round pick. And the story for me this year is we need to add more picks. So do you stay at 17 if the board is stacked against you? And you're not going to end up with that high-profile player that you wanted. There's a possibility for that, right? So here's what I want to look at. I want to trade with, let's see. I'm going to trade with, I don't know how many picks New England has. Well, they got a ton. I'm going to trade with New England. I'm going to trade first. I want their 2nd. And I want 125 from Chicago. And I'll give them 180. Let's see if they'll trade. Trade accepted. Look at that. So I just picked up a 2nd round pick, an end of the 1st round pick, and a 4th round pick. So now we have 2 4th round picks. Now I can take those 2 4th round picks and I can jump back up into the 3rd round. So I'm going to do a 3-round draft. Here we go. I'm just going to do the one trade to get us started. We're picking at pick 30. What happens? All right. Who's all disappeared? Tackle, Caleb Lomo is gone. Edge, TJ Parker. Guard, Ola Vega. Lone is gone. He went at 27. Wow. Caden Proctor's gone at 25. Romello Haight is gone at 24. I don't see him anywhere near the 1st round right now. Cade McDonald is gone. I do like him. Francis Mauigoa, that's the guy right there. He went to Dallas, which I'm not surprised, at pick 20. Caleb Banks is gone. Jermod McCoy is gone at 18. So the Lions, according to this, would have had a shot at Jermod McCoy at 17. Spencer Fano, tackle, Utah, would have been available. Cassius Howell would have been available at 15. Mansour Delane, corner, he's gone. Another corner's gone. Another wide receiver. There's Peter Woods at number 9. David Bailey at 8. Sonny Styles, wow, that's a huge leap, at 7. Caleb Downs, top 10 pick at number 6. Arvell Reese sticking at 5. Ruben Bain at 4. Mendoza goes number 1. Dante Moore goes number 2. Jeremiah Love goes number 3. I think those are pretty accurate top 5. All right, so Lions are on the clock at pick 30. Eric, what do you think? Do we need offensive line first?
No matter what this year, I think it all comes down to free agency. What
Of
if
course.
what if Brad patches up that offensive line with a couple of veterans? He gets a new left tackle and a new center. And then the best guard in the draft is staring you in the face. So even if that's the case, and then there's an edge, a safety, and a guard staring me in the face, do we take a guard?
Potentially. I mean, I would think that you take a center that can be a guard no matter what. I think you always take the center as long as their arm length is right. So according to, who is this, PFF, they think that Jake Slaughter right now is at pick 79. So the reason why I made the trade is because now we're picking at 30, 50, 62, and the Lions will end up having, I think, was it 115 or 118 or 125 as well, so they can move back up into the third where Jake's Slaughter would be. I don't think he's going to be there. I think that he's going to go early second, could go at the back end of the first. It all depends on what happens at the top of the round. So right now, let's look at edge. So we backed into a situation where we can grab that center now in the second round, and we got 2 second-round picks. And we need a third. So let's trade real quick. I want to get back into the third round. I want to get under pick 79. There's the Rams, the Bills, the Niners, the Commanders at 71. Let's go 71 with the Commanders. I'm going to give them 2027 third. And I'm going to give them 118. No, I'll give them 125 from Chicago. A future third. Let's just offer that, see what they're going to laugh at me. Yeah, I figured they'd laugh at me. So let's double up and give them 204. Those picks are worth nothing. Okay, so they're not biting. Oh, there we go. I traded to get pick 71. I gave up a future third and a fifth and a sixth. So now we've got 4 draft picks in the top 71. If you could tell me the Lions have that this year, I would be sleeping good. I'd be sleeping real good. We need a safety.
That I agree on.
We need a safety badly.
Because even if Brian Branch comes back, he's probably going to miss half the season. And then he's not going to be 100% the whole season.
Right.
And what about Kirby Joseph? I mean, I hate to be doom and gloom, but what if he can't go?
Right. If
he may never play another down in the NFL.
That is a real scenario. It is real.
I hate to say it, and I mean, I hope beyond hope that he comes back and he is completely healthy for training camp and he's 100% next year. Because at 100% with his knees, Kirby Joseph is, in my opinion, top 2 in the league for safeties. So
what's interesting right now is if I'm going to look to the third or fourth ranked safety, Dylan Thieneman out of Oregon, 6 foot, 205 pounds, runs a 4.35 40, is probably the most interesting. Is he gone? Is he not even on this board already? Is he already off the board? I don't see him. Is he like way back somewhere? Oh shit, I'm looking at tackles. There we go. And this AJ Halsey, yeah, I he's 6 foot 222. He runs a 4.55. He's interesting too. But I don't know, Dylan Thieneman, he's intriguing to me. I watched a little bit of film, not a whole lot, not enough to say that I know everything about the guy. But He has a deep football lineage, man. He has a family of footballers. I'd probably pass on safety right at unless one of the other guys slipped. Let me look at offensive tackle to see who's still there. Caden Proctor, Spencer Fano, Francis Mawigoa, they're all gone. Next up would be Jennings Dunker. And where's Dunker? Oh, he's right there at pick 47. So that would be a reach at 30. That'd be a big reach. He's 6'5". He runs a 5.30. He's legitimate NFL talent. His ceiling is really going to depend on where teams decide to play him. The next guy would be Isaiah World, Caleb Tiernan, Austin Barber. All guys that you can get later, right? All guys that you can get later. So I would probably pass on offensive tackle, which nobody wants to hear. Let's look at edge rushers. Who would be available right now if you really thought that the Lions were going to take an edge? And then we'll look at linebacker, and then we'll make our choice. Oh, there's Akeem Messidor. I think he's going to fly up the board. And I don't think he's going to be available after 50, but Akeem Messidor is, he's fun. He is fun. David Bailey, I think he's probably already off the board. Cassius Howell, I think he's already off the board. Mason Thomas, 6'2", 249. Nope. Immediately off my board. LJ Overton or LT Overton, he's interesting. He's someone that you might not be able to walk away from. He's got that big DN style. He runs a 4.85, 6'5", 275. Rare size, rare speed, jumps off the board. I do like it. So LT Overton definitely is my pick right there. And then I'm going to look at linebacker real quick, and then we're going to make our pick. Linebacker, who's in here? CJ Allen out of Georgia. Ooh, I didn't think he was still available. Hold on, hold the phone. Linebacker. Bailey, Reese, Anthony Hill, Sonny Styles, CJ Allen. 6'1", 235 is a little bit short. Legitimate 3-down potential at the next level with athletic profile and instincts makes him an immediate impact player. I don't like his height. His 40 is okay. Tackling is off the charts. Run defense is off the charts, so he's good there. But his coverage is not great. I want a cover guy in the first round if I'm taking a guy at all. He has to be elite in coverage. Has to be elite in coverage. Yep. I'm going back to edge. Sorry, Eric. Sorry to take all this time here.
That's right. Hey, I didn't realize it's way
no,
past
yeah,
11.
you can bounce. Go for it, man.
I gotta fly.
We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, see you.
I'm gonna go with Overton. It's a bit of a reach, but I'm gonna take it. Next up at pick 50. So that settles the edge conversation with us backing up. We can still get a high profile edge player. And now we've added a bunch of picks. This is where I'm going to look at offensive tackle. And nobody would like this. You know, if this truly happened, I don't think that this would be a great plan. Maybe you take your first round pick. Maybe you figure out a way to stay up earlier in the first round. Let me go back to the first round real quick. Offensive tackles that already came off the board by pick 17. Spencer Fano was gone. And that's it. So Maui Yoga would have been available, and Caden Proctor both would have been available. So the other way to look at this is, what would you have done going the other way? What if you wanted to move up a little bit? And I'll do one of those, just not today. All right. next up, I'm going to take a look at the center position that everyone should be here. Inside, outside. Here we go. Connor Lew. Now, if I remember correctly, Connor Lew is going to be sidelined for quite a while. I don't think I wrote an article on him yet. Maybe I'll try to get that done today so I can get brushed up on him. He has a torn ACL in October, which means he's going to be out this next season. You can't depend on someone like Connor Lew to come in and help you at center. So if Connor Lew were to fall into that 4th round because of injury or 5th round, and you've already taken a center, you're damn right you take another one. Why? Because if something doesn't work out with the first one, you have a backup ready. If you want to put Connor at guard, he can be a guard. So for that reason, I would not take Connor Lew here at 58. We need a starter. We need someone that can start and help this offense right away. Jake Slaughter is still my guy at pick 7 or at rank 79. There is no way he's going to last till 50. At least that's my thought right now. I'm taking Slaughter without a doubt. Especially with my next pick at pick 62, I'm not falling back, that far to where I won't have an opportunity to grab somebody. Might need some help in the tight end world. And then let's take a look at safety. Now, remember, this is not a well thought out plan here. I'm just kind of going through it. Seeing what's happening. This is truly my first mock of the year. Usually I do about 50 of these before I do one live. All right, so if we're looking at the best safety available at pick 62, all right, Warren, 6'2", 202 out of Toledo. There's been some great things read on him. He's a little bit slower at 4.52. He's going to have a much better 40 time at the combine. I like his length. I like his weight. I'm glad he's a little bit heavier. I don't, especially if you're going to come up in the run game, you got to be able to smack some dudes. Coverage is elite. Run defense is good. Zone is okay. Man press is where he excels, and we know that that's what the Lions love, is having a guy that can excel in man press. His immediate comparisons, these are not my comparisons, are Jaden Hicks, Josh Proctor, and Kevin Winston Jr. Until I watch film on this guy, I don't know. But just based on the rankings that I have right now, he might be a great opportunity. Emmanuel McNeil Warren right here at pick 62. It's a bit of a reach, but I don't know how much longer you're going to wait to grab the next starter. Zaki Wheatley, right now he's ranked pretty high up there out of Penn State. I wouldn't say that he would be on the board at pick 62, but it'd be close. 6'2", 200. Love his weight. His 40 is much better at 440. He's elite against the run. He's elite in coverage, and he's even better in zone than he is against man. But even in the man press, he's still really good. I do like Zaki Wheatley. Prototypical sizes, love it. Alabama, damn well Brad is looking at Alabama, so I might as well just take a flyer on him. Let's see what he's all about. Keon Saab, 204 pounds. A little bit slower, 4.55. He's 6'1", so he's got good prototypical size. Speed is lacking. He's great in coverage, better than average in zone. Same score in man press, which when I say better than average, he's sub elite. Tackling is solid. Run defense is solid. really good in instincts. This is a guy that I've got to do some research on. I don't think that you could fail either way, but if Keon Saab for some reason is back there at 106, I wouldn't take him. So right now my guy is McNeil Warren. But we still need a linebacker. Badly. And since a lot of these guys are off the board already. Where's Goldie? I swear every year there's a guy with the last name of Trotter that's a linebacker. Every freaking year. Where is Goldie? Why don't I see him in here? Oh my God, or Goldie. He's right in front of me. I'm surprised that he's up that high. He's better known as a developmental prospect right now. 6'4", 240, 4.55 40, all great times. He's great at tackling. He's okay in the pass rush. He's solid in the run defense. His coverage is pretty good. He's freakishly athletic, though, with the elite speed that he has, which would really help with the running backs and the tight ends in coverage. Very explosive in his testing numbers. His closing burst in open field is very violent and sudden. He fires into contact like he's been shot from a cannon. Sideline to sideline range really jumps off the screen. So he's kind of like that next Alex Anzalone. He's a wrap-up tackler. He's a reliable tackler. High motor, very versatile as a blitzer. He can translate, into a back-end edge rusher off the edge. He just needs some help in his coverage. So for that doesn't excite me if he's not a great coverage backer, but I've got to watch film on the guy, so I can only go off of what, initial offerings that I have. But we need a linebacker. Without watching tape, I'm taking Goldie. Last pick 71. Let's see if my safety survived. And he did. There we go. That's my top 3 rounds with 4 picks in the top 71. I probably got a hell of a terrible grade here. I got a terrible grade on Jake Slaughter, but I think the PFF is full of schnit. And I got a terrible grade on Emmanuel, McNeil, Warren. I don't care about their grades. Their grades suck anyway. If we were to get an edge, a center, a linebacker, and a safety, and we went heavy defense, and we were able to grab a left tackle, or if Taylor Decker's coming back, I would be okay with that if we went heavy defense. We just settled up 3 positions, 3 different parts and pieces of the defense. Let me get out of this. When you can settle up 3 different layers of your defense, the front, the middle, and the back, that's how I draft. I'm not going to go heavy with one position and grab multiple guys at one position. I want all 3 levels of my future secure. And if you look at what Brad Holmes has done and how he drafts, he kind of does the same thing. He never really goes back and double dips at the same position in the same round from year to year to year. But if you look at his draft picks, he's spreading elite playmakers around the football field at all 3 levels. That's very smart drafting, and I'm not just saying that because that's the way I draft, but that's the way I draft too. So if I did this move and I did trade back to grab more picks to get 4 really good guys that can shore up needs, best player available, and help us get younger and better faster, that would be a defensive draft, shoring up the center position, which I think all 4 of those positions are high needs for me. Edge, center, linebacker, safety. How bad was it? Give me a grade. I don't care about PFF's grade. And remember, this is just... and I gave away some future stuff, too. You got to remember that. So we go A. I'm not going to do minuses. B... C. And if you're going to give me a D, it might as well be an F. There you go. Pull me out. If Decker retires, it makes it that much harder for us to trade back because the talent drop. Yeah, I agree, John. 1,000%. I agree. If Decker does retire, it makes things really tough. Now, what I'm going to do this year, which is different from last year, is when I do my mock drafts, I'm going to save them this time. And I'm going to save the ones that I plan on talking about because I'm going to do the what if scenario. What if Montgomery is traded? What if, this player was traded? What if we release this player? And so I'm going to put all those scenarios together. I'll write about it. I'll do a mock draft for it. We'll do a video about it, and I'm going to try to release it all at the same time. Oh, Trace, I love that statement. It isn't the GM's job to keep the fan base happy. You're damn straight. It's the GM's job to put a competent, competitive football team on the field. That's the job. Decker will never move to guard. He's not a guard. He's not limber enough, I don't think, J-Rod. Frazier, I think, can be a backup left tackle, but I see him more at right tackle simply because he's played right tackle in his previous. He hasn't played left tackle. I don't think Frazier's our answer at tackle at all. I don't. I think you'll see Manu there before anyone, and I don't think that Manu's the answer at left tackle. And another unpopular opinion, I don't think that Sewell's going to the left side either, even if Taylor Decker retires. I think that would be a grave mistake. It's kind of like asking a guard that's never played center before to be a center. Like Sewell's played right tackle for 5 seasons. It's like having to start all over again and relearn left tackle. I'm sure it wouldn't be extremely difficult because he was a left tackle, but his body mechanics, everything that he's learned how to do is going to be different now. And everything that he's good at is going to be different. I think the concept, though, if he did go to left, is now defenses have to plan for something totally different. The problem for me is we love Sewell as our run defender, or our road grader in the run game, not run defender. If he now has to protect Jared Goff and can't get out there and get to the second level and help Jahmyr Gibbs get upfield, now what? Who's going to help us do that? Like Penei Sewell did. So we'd be losing an entire facet of our offense if Penei Sewell went to left tackle. I'm glad you brought that up, J-Rod. I'm glad. It is such a hot topic, and we could talk about it for hours, I'm sure. Yeah, exactly, Attila. Just because he played it in college, I don't think that's going to help him now. It's a little too late. If we brought AQM back, edge isn't as much of a need. I would disagree because AQM is older. He is not the future. He is not the spark plug that we need, as a defender. And my roster roulette says so. I'm just kidding, but I'm being serious. My roster roulette plan says that when you sign your number one edge to a big deal, you have to bring in another spark plug. And that is a future replacement for Aiden. And the reason why I say replacement is because if Aiden becomes too expensive and he's not producing, you trade him. If Aiden goes down, you have to have someone to back him up immediately, and they have to be pretty much as good or close to, so that your fan base, number one, doesn't crucify you, but so you can keep your defense alive. You need a competent replacement after you sign these guys. It keeps the overall percentage of the edge position low and manageable. It helps you with future forecasting, depth, you name it. But bringing AQM back has to be a must, I think. Bringing in a couple more Sewells. I don't know how many more Sewells play football. Finding a replacement for Aiden in the 4th round, they exist. They do. I don't know that they're in this draft, but they do exist. You know who comes to mind? Jared Allen. TJ Watt. Jared Allen, I think he was drafted in the 4th or 5th. I think TJ Watt was the 3rd. So they do exist. They do exist. And they can be found. It does happen. According to a lot of analysts, the edge draft this year is really deep. According to my analysis, it's not as deep. Simply because we don't know about their actual height, weight, and arm length yet. And just what's being reported is not looking good. A lot of 6'1", 6'2", 6'3" guys. The 6'3", 6'4" guys are fine for that big end can crusher. I like that. And honestly, I should have taken Mesidor in that first draft. I should have taken Mesidor versus probably the safety. Or I could have taken Mesidor as opposed to Jake Golday. Probably would have been a better, safer bet. Mesidor would have been. Because then you've got 2 edge. Because you're going to lose. You're probably going to lose. You're going to lose Josh Pascal. You're going to lose Marcus Davenport. We don't know what Ahmed Hassanin is yet. We don't know about AQM. So I would say that the Lions are probably going to go fairly heavy at defensive line as much as they can because they've got future. And if you look at like teams like the Rams and what they did, they went edge, linebacker, defensive line, hybrid guys for like 3 drafts in a row. And now look at their defensive line off the right side rotation with Jared Verse, Kobe Turner, and others. That's exactly how you do it. You do it in multiple drafts, and you got to get lucky. You have to get lucky on a couple of guys. You really do. But anyway, how did I get? I got a B. I'll take that. I'll take a B. I would have given myself an F. No one gave me an F yet. I'm just kidding. I probably would have given myself a C. It was decent. It was decent. But what did I give up is the question. What did I give up? I gave up that future 2nd round pick, a future 5th round pick. I gave up this year's one of this year's 5th round picks. Let me save this one just to save it. First mock 2026 3 round. All right, we're going to get into it, man. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to get working. I got a lot of stuff I got to do today. It's already 11:30. I know I was an hour late, but I think I got it fixed. Y'all have a wonderful day. Do me a favor. If you want to be part of the draft analysis crew this year, then email me mailbag@rockdown.com. I want to put an article out there that'll kind of say the same thing so that you can see what I'm talking about. So that way you guys can sign up. And what will happen is I'll pick a night. I'll say, okay, on this night, we're going to be doing a group draft. And you're going to get a link. And when you get a link, you pick your team, whatever team that is that you want to draft for. And we'll do like 3 round drafts. We might do some live trades, but keep it above board. No punters in the first 3 rounds. No kickers in the first 3 rounds. Right? Just keep it above board. No 7th round safeties in the first round or 7th round quarterbacks. Try to make it as fun. It's really informational though. It's wanting to see how other people think. And I think that would be I think it would be something we could do every year and have some fun with it. And then we'll take our own analysis and see how it stacks up. When we do our final group draft, if you get your pick right, I'm going to pull a prize with it. We're going to have some fun with it that way too. So, all right, y'all be great. I know we didn't take phone calls today, but we'll take some tomorrow. And we got games tonight. Maybe we'll do one tonight. Maybe we'll watch a game together tonight. I don't know. We'll see. All right, you guys take care. Go and probably go Detroit Lions. Take care. Bye-bye.
Pressured by Hutchinson.